Ahoy, mateys! This is your captain speaking. It's the week 2 pick'ems. We're the sports buds. This is the football show. Welcome aboard. I'm your host, Chris Billings, joined by my co-host, Nicholas Kerr, Tony Parlay Reyes. Welcome, gentlemen. It's the week 2 spreads. First off, though, how you doing, Tony?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
I've seen better weeks. I wish it was basketball season. Nick, how about yourself?
Doing all right. I had a good football week.
Guys are keeping it really calm and composed here with your high flying victories over the weekend. I wish I could be this excited for my team to win. But no, we're here. It's week 2. Broncos did not win. Better luck this week. But hey, Chargers at Titans. We got the Chargers favored by a field goal in this game on the road. Titans, man, Tannehill did not look good in week 1. Tannehill does not look like he's going to last the season. With that said, Tony, who are you picking in this game?
Give me that Titans team with the field goal at home. West Coast team traveling east. Yeah, I know how this goes. I've seen enough of Brandon Staley to see what happens in this one. Give me the points and the home dog.
All right, I'm going to go opposite of that. I'm going with the Chargers. Even though they lost to Tua and the Dolphins, they still played a really good game and had an explosive offense. So credit to them. And then I saw the complete opposite from the Titans. They looked like dog poo-poo in terms of offense. So yeah, going Chargers. Nick, that leaves you. Who do you have, Titans or Chargers?
I'm going to go with the Chargers because that defense is good, and I think they're just going to be happy not to be chasing Tyreek Hill around this week. I think Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack were not able to get home last week, and they're going to take it out on Ryan Tannehill this week.
Could be the career ender for Tannehill. All right, we have the Green Bay Packers at the Atlanta Falcons. Green Bay is favored by 1.5 points. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I learned my lesson. Don't pick against Jordan Love and the Packers. But honestly, they seemed like the better team from last week. Seemed like the more cohesive team. I think Falcons, still a lot of new parts there that they're working with. Even though it'll be a home game for them playing in the Dome, I see the Packers winning this game by a field goal. Tony?
I can't go against my Falcons, man. Everything I saw from them in week 1, I loved. Bijan implementing right into that offense. This Algier cat is actually a really good running back. This is a really, really good spread. Really good spread, I will say. I'm going to take the point and the Falcons at home, or 1.5 and the Falcons at home.
All right, Nick, you are the tiebreaker between me and Tony. Who do you have, Packers or Falcons?
I went back and forth on this pick, but I did ultimately choose the Packers. I think they had that warm-up game last week against the Bears. This is just another tune-up game for Jordan Love. I think he does have a good game, and the Packers probably win this by between a field goal and a touchdown.
All right, that leaves Tony on a lonely island for that game. That's 3 Lonely Island picks in a row for Tony. Enjoying that Hawaiian life. All right. We got a divisional battle here of the AFC South. Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Indy's favored by 1.5 points. A lot closer than I would have probably anticipated. All right, Nick, I'll start with you. Who do you have, Texans or Colts?
I'm going to go with the Texans in this, only because it's 2 rookie quarterbacks. I'm going to take the one playing at home. They both played decent last week in their first games. I expect them both to improve this week. It should be a close game, but I think the Texans pull it out.
All right, Tony, who do you have?
I agree with Nick. I took the Texans. 1.5 at home. Defense is a little bit better than the Colts.
All right. It looks like I'm stuck on a lonely island for this pick. I'm going with the Colts. Think of the two rookie quarterbacks. The Colts had the better of the two. I think they win this game by a field goal. Colts. All right, next game. Seattle Seahawks bouncing back from a loss last week to the Rams. And the Detroit Lions riding high with a win over the Super Bowl winning Kansas Chiefs. Detroit's opening line in this game was 6. Start with you, Nick. Who do you have in this game?
I'm going to go with the Lions. Just like you said, they're still flying high right now, and I don't think Dan Campbell's going to let them have a letdown game. Geno Smith, he's going to play more toward like he did for the Jets than he did for the Seahawks last year.
Yeah. Geno Smith and the Seahawks struggled. They struggled mightily against that Rams pass rush. Even a clip out there of him saying, "Oh my God," as Aaron Donald was coming right at him. But I think the Seahawks, for all the noise that they have, the 12th man that they have out there in Seattle, it's going to be loud as hell there in Detroit for their home opener. That's why I'm going by the Lions. I think they win by over a touchdown in this game. So, Tony, going with the Lions, you're going on a lonely island with the Seahawks.
This is it right here. You guys are falling for it. This is the classic letdown spot. We watched this all season long. Like, this is what's going to happen. That's way too many points. If the Lions do win, maybe it's by a field goal. But I think the Seahawks got a great shot of winning this game outright. This is like way too high off that Chiefs win. Like, this is what happens to Dan Campbell. Like they lose this game, we're going to be like same old Lions. 100%. You're going to say that. And I don't have faith in that team because I haven't seen it. So I'll take all 6 points on that Seahawks team.
All right. Tony's on a lonely island saying the Seahawks could potentially win this one outright. See it happens. All right. Next game up. Chicago Bears, who are owned by the Green Bay Packers, heading down to Tampa, Florida to face the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is a field goal favorite in this game. I'll start with myself. I'm going to go to the Buccaneers. I think Baker Mayfield carries that momentum. The Bucs continue forward. That Bears team was bad. Like, let's not forget, this was a team that got the top pick. They're bad, and they're still bad this year. They got a long road to go. I think Baker and Mike Evans connect, have a few more touchdowns in this game, win easily by greater than a touchdown in this game. I'm going Bucs. Nick, we'll go to you next. Bucs or Bears?
I'm going to go with the Bears in this game. I think that Baker Mayfield had a good game last week. He has a bad game this week. He does not connect with Mike Evans. I think the Bears win this game.
All right. Tony, are you going to leave me or Nick on a lonely island? Who do you have, Bucs or Bears?
I'm taking the Bears and leaving you on a lonely island. I can't believe in this Baker Mayfield Bucs thing working. There's no way. I was like in disbelief as you guys were telling me what actually happened when they beat the Vikings. Part of me still doesn't believe it because I haven't seen it, but so there's no way I'm picking them to beat the Bears here. I just don't believe it.
Your disclaimer. Tony just said it. You didn't watch that game, so
I don't believe it. I'm sorry, guys. Bucs, Vikings, throw it out.
With me. All right, we have the Raiders coming off a win against the Broncos at Mile High, and we have the Bills fresh off a loss to the Jets with a walk-off punt return in overtime. Buffalo favored by 9 points in this game at home. Tony, who are you picking in this game?
Bills. Get right game. Bills Mafia is going to be insane. Josh Allen will play better. He'll get back, and he throws 0 interceptions in this game. Josh Allen has 0 turnovers in this game. You heard that here first. Bills win by double digits easy.
All right, Nick.
I agree. Bills win by double digits easy. The line you guys always love to use. West Coast team traveling east for a 1 o'clock game doesn't always go well. So I think Bills win this game by double digits. I do think Josh Allen still has a turnover though.
I'm going with the Raiders. I think the Raiders have a pretty good pass rush. Max Crosby, you had Divine Diablo, who was also looking good in the game against the Broncos last week. I think they lose this game, but I think 9 points is just way too much. And I think that's honestly disrespectful to the Raiders. I think Josh McDaniels is using this as bulletin board material, just like he did last week, of nobody believes that you guys can do anything. And Jimmy G looked like a fairly confident quarterback, and it looks like him and Devontae Adams, like Devontae Adams isn't getting covered by number one, cornerbacks. Like, that's a pretty good connection with those two. And then they also have alternative receivers as well. They have Josh Jacobs. Like, the Raiders are actually probably going to be a pretty good team this year. I'm going to throw out there. So I think the 9 points is just disrespectful. Raiders do lose this game, but yeah, get out of here with 9 points. I'll stick on my lonely island and die with that. All right. Going on, AFC West versus AFC South. Chiefs at Jaguars. Surprisingly, Kansas City only favored by a field goal in this game. Any word if Travis Kelce is going to be back for this game? No one knows. All right. We'll just go around quickly in this game. Nick, who you got?
I'm taking the Chiefs. I believe this game is probably going to be a shootout, and it could come down to a late field goal, so this could be a candidate for a push. But I do believe the Chiefs win this game.
I'm agreeing with Nick. I think the Chiefs win this game, but it's most likely going to trend towards a push rather than anything. Tony?
This shit scares the shit out of me. All of us are in agreement on the Chiefs like nothing. Most people, you look at that, it's immediately Chiefs when you think about it, but they're on the road. We don't know if Travis Kelce's playing. We all think that Trevor Lawrence is a legitimate quarterback in the league. I think Nick might be onto something with that push. Maybe could the Chiefs start 0-2? Like, is that a world that we can accept? Like, it seems so improbable, but I'm concerned when we're all in agreement. This feels like Steelers last week. This feels like Steelers last week. So goddamn bad. This feels like Steelers last week. I'm worried. I'm changing the pick. I'm changing the pick right now. Give me the Jags +3. I'm on the lonely island. I don't care. I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking this right now. Jags +3. This feels so much like Chiefs. This feels so much like Steelers last week. I'm out. I'm scared. I'm out. Give me the Jags +3.
Changing picks. Tony, jumping on a lonely island. All right.
That's right. I'm scared.
Got Ravens at Bengals. Bengals favored by 3.5 at this game at home. Coming off a loss, though. A bad loss to the Browns. I will start with you, Tony. Who do you have in this game?
I took the Ravens. Ravens are going to win that game outright, even with the hook.
All right. I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. I just think that 3.5 points is a little bit too much. If the Bengals were to somehow win this game, I think it would be by a field goal. So, Nick, are you going with me and Tony, or are you going to stick yourself on a lonely island?
I am going to stick myself on a lonely island for this pick. I think that Joe Burrow has a bounce-back game. They lost that battle of Ohio, and I think the loss of Dobbins for the Ravens is going to be a lot bigger. So I think that the Bengals end up winning this game by a touchdown.
Yep. Did not miss that and mention that in previous episodes that J.K. Dobbins is out for the season. He's done for again.
Mm-hmm.
Bad loss for them. But also one of the reasons we didn't mention the Ravens is they just looked mediocre in their game. Like, there wasn't really much to report home about. And so losing Dobbins on top of that, I don't know about the Ravens moving forward, so this is definitely one of those games I want to watch because I want to see what the Ravens are capable of. So, moving forward, we've got the battle of the bad, the Giants versus the Cardinals in Arizona. Giants favored by 4.5 points. Very awkward spread on that one. Tony, who do you have?
Giants get right game. They win that game by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's Giants. I like really my reason for picking this game more than anything is I don't think the Cardinals are trying too hard this season. So, and the Giants very much have something to prove after that beat down at home last year. So yes, they have something to prove. Nick, who do you have?
Completely agree with both of you. Taking the Giants.
All right. Moving forward, we have a divisional matchup of the NFC West. San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. Let's hope that they don't have any robots in attendance for this game. San Francisco favored by 8.5 points. Tony, I'll start with you.
Give me the Niners, man. I don't care. That's a double-digit win for me. That team, McVay can never beat Shanahan. He never has a good record against them. I think he's beaten him one time in his life. And the Niners defense, the Niners offense, they look pretty damn complete. I think they just overwhelmed the Rams.
Nick?
Completely agree. I had the Niners last week, but then I was influenced by one of you guys to change it to the Steelers. Not changing the pick this week. I'm staying with the Niners double-digit win.
All right. Guess I'm on a lonely island. I'm going with the Rams. As I've said last week, I think the Rams aren't as bad as some people are making them out to be. I think they still lose this game, but 8.5 points seems a little disrespectful. You know, have a heavy emphasis on seems disrespectful. We'll find out. Going out on a little bit of a limb here, but yeah, I'm going to take the Rams to cover. All right, Jets, Cowboys, a game that everybody thought was going to be much different. Aaron Rodgers out for the season, a torn Achilles. Cowboys coming off a 40-burger in the Meadowlands. Their home opener. They're favored by 8.5 points. Tony, tell me why you have the Cowboys.
I don't see the Jets scoring that many points. Like, I think they're going to really struggle to get to double digits against this Cowboys team. Like, I'll be surprised. I think they score maybe 10, 13, maybe. And Cowboys are probably going to put up 30 on them easy. Like, they scored 40 points 12 times in the McCarthy era. Like Dak and that team scored 30 like every game. So I think the Jets are going to really struggle, man. Really struggle to score against that defense. And just terrible matchup, terrible timing for them.
Nick?
I think if the Jets are going to have any kind of chance in this game, they're going to have to establish a run game because I don't see Zach Wilson doing anything against that defense. So I'm taking the Cowboys double-digit win.
All right. I'm back on a lonely island. I'm going with the Jets in this game. As I've said, I think the Jets defense is really good. I think you're seeing two of the best defenses in the league going head to head this week. I think that should be the storyline for this game. Not that Aaron Rodgers is gone and that they're not going to have the Aaron Rodgers versus Dak showdown again. No, the headline here should be two of the best defenses going toe-to-toe. These two defenses accounted for 7 turnovers this past week in the NFL. I'd say my betting advice for anyone watching right now, take the under in this game. There will not be a lot of scoring in this game. I think if anything, the Jets' strategy is going to be to roll with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook and run the damn football and keep it away from Dak Prescott and the boys. I realize that leaves Micah Parsons on the field a whole lot, but I think they have an offensive line and a run scheme that can get it done and can keep the ball away from the Cowboys long enough. So I think it's going to be a lot closer. As I've said with previous games this week, 8.5 seems disrespectful. I'm going to have the Jets to cover. Cowboys win, though. All right, we got the Washington Commanders, fresh off a win with Sam Howell, going up against Russell Wilson, the Denver Broncos, still here in Mile High. Denver's favored by 3.5 points. Nick, who do you have in this game?
I rewatched that Broncos Raiders game, and I really think that Peyton's gonna go back. You're gonna take more deep shots with Wilson this sudden because there's been too much around the line, running the ball, and then just little dump offs. So I think that they go back to the drawing board, and I think they get this win this week. Going Broncos.
All right, Tony.
I'm picking Broncos too. I had some of the same feelings when I rewatched that game, Nick. I feel so bad for Sean Payton. He calls the right plays. He is an aggressive play caller. Like, my God, if him and Justin Herbert ever could connect. But yes, but yeah, I think the Commanders just aren't that good, and I don't see Sam Howell going on the road and taking care of business. I'll get you guys. Like, the Broncos should win this game. They should win this with more than that, 3.5. It's a little disrespectful. He's like his third start.
The Broncos will not get more than that 3.5. I think the Commanders cover, Broncos win. I think it ends up being a field goal game. It's that half point that I don't like for this game. Let's be honest. The Denver Broncos, as it stands right now, especially the players, there is a losing mentality, a losing culture, a snake bet culture in that locker room. And until they can get over that hump, that's just how it's going to be. I think this is still going to be a tight and close game that they win by a field goal. Yes, the Broncos are the better team. They just, as we saw last week, you can attribute some of the game last week to Sean Payton's arrogance, his Will Lutz decision as a kicker, but also the Broncos had 10 penalties, which kind of mirrors what they had last season. It was just an undisciplined team. Yes, there's a lot of things that look better, but until they can just get some wins in their back pocket and get over this hump, I think that the Broncos are very much in their own head, and this is going to be a close game that the Commanders could potentially win, but Broncos, it's a must-win game for them. It's a must-win for Peyton, for Russell Wilson's just entire career, for the season, a lot of things. So you got to get out there and win, but they're shook. They're shook right now. So yeah, that's why I'm picking the Commies to cover. Sunday Night Football. We have another divisional matchup, the AFC East. The Miami Dolphins head up to Foxborough to face the Patriots. Miami's favored by 2.5 points. Nick, why are you picking the Dolphins?
Two is 4-0 against the Patriots. Bill Belichick hasn't been able to figure him out yet.
Yeah. I'm going with the Dolphins as well. Another spread that I think is very disrespectful towards the Dolphins. They should be favored by a lot more in this game. I think they're giving the Patriots way too much credit. I think the Dolphins win this by double digits. Tony?
Patriots win this game. It's an upset pick. If you watch that Patriots-Eagles game, they probably should beat the Eagles. They were driving. I think if the receiver learns how to put his feet in bounds, they get the ball on the 8-yard line or something, down 5. I mean, Mac Jones, you could see in that game that they have a legitimate offensive coordinator. Like, they were down 16-0, and they put an offense together and scored all those points. So I could see the turnaround, and it's a rivalry game. It's tight. Dolphins pretty high off that win, going up to New England. Feel like it's an upset. Feel like that's got upset written all over it. Tua is 4-0 against Belichick, but I feel like Patriots offense is a lot better. Yeah, I feel like that's your upset win right there. Patriots by about a field goal.
Hey. Flip boy, save this. Patriots will not beat the Dolphins. Not. It'll never happen.
What could go wrong?
Saying. Nick, don't blame me though if the Patriots do.
Yeah.
All right, we got a Monday night doubleheader. First game up on Monday Night Football. Divisional matchup as well. NFC South, New Orleans Saints travel on up to Charlotte. Face the Panthers. They're favored by 3.5 points over the Panthers. Nick, who do you have in this game?
I'm taking the Saints. I think Derek Carr is going to get that first taste of the NFC South, and he's going to love it.
All right. I'm also going with the Saints. They looked well. Derek Carr looked good. I think the Panthers still got a lot of work to do. Rookie QB. I think this is another spread that's a little bit disrespectful, and the Saints win by a touchdown or more. Tony?
Give me the Panthers. Let's go ahead. Let's peel this back.
You can have them.
The Saints looked good. They won 16-15. Derek Carr looked comfortable. They scored 16 points. Talk to me about how good they look. I'll fade this Saints team any chance I get. Dennis Allen stinks as a coach. The half-point hook is way too much at home. Saints aren't good.
No, who also scored 16 points and didn't win their fucking game, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I agree.
At least,
both you guys.
At least Saints
not good.
won.
You didn't play the Titans.
Whatever. Let's move on to the second game. Tony's pissing me off. Need to end this episode. Second half of the doubleheader on Monday Night Football. We got the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Browns favored by 2.5 points. Tony, I will start with you. Don't know why, but I will.
Steelers at home? Monday Night Football, coming off of a beatdown loss to the Niners. This has got Tomlin bounce back written all over it. Steelers winning this game easy.
Nick, who do you got?
I agree, and for everything that Tony just said, plus I think the Browns are high off that win over the Bengals. They have a letdown game.
I'm changing my pick. We did it last week.
Yeah.
So I'll pick the Steelers again. I also said last week I'm not picking the Browns this season just for moral reasons. So I'm not picking the Browns. I don't want to pick Mr. Massage Man. So yes, I'll go Steelers as well. That means I can get off the lonely island. I'm off. I don't have to do it anymore. We all picked the Steelers. Woo!
Mr. Massage Man. What a nickname.
I didn't want to go as far as sex offender because that's somewhat libelous, It's
Alleged.
So,
Alleged.
Dude definitely loves his massages. That's been confirmed. So we'll go with Massage Man. That's what my lawyer's telling me I should go with. All right. That's been the picks episode. We're done here. Let's sign off. Nick, final thoughts before we head into week 2 of the NFL 2023 season.
Just excited for the way it started and can't wait for more.
Whatever. Tony.
Sports Budz Super Bowl Exit 2. Here we go. Let's get this week going. Everything's on track.
Whatever. Got big noon kickoff, and you got ESPN game day once again in Boulder for CU Buffs versus in-state rival CSU Rams. Check it out. The only football that matters here in Colorado. Go Buffs. I'm Chris Billings for Nicholas Kerr, for Tony Parlay Reyes. We're signing off. I got the Peyton Manning forehead going. Y'all have a great week too. Love ya.
Thanks for watching the Sports Buds. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.